I love when CD ends his writings with understand.
What page is that?
I think it began on page 173 of Music of the Song. So as I said, what I'd like to give you now, talk to you a bit about now, are the 4 names of the station of love. Station of love in Arabic is maqam. Maqam is the word for station, al-mahabba. Mahabba is one of the names of love. But as we'll learn, it's only one of 4 main names that are commonly used. I think 3 of them you'll be very familiar with, and maybe not the first one. So what I'm teaching now is extracted from Sidi's book, The Secret of the Love of God, pages 131 to 145. So these are 4 different names for the station of love. And as we'll learn, these actually are stations. So love is known by different names depending what station you're in. So the first name of love is Al-Hawa. Initial attraction. Initial attraction, or Sufi says an alternate is passion, but I'm not going to use that because Ibrahim's been using that for passionate love with Alish, which is the passionate longing, so it'll just be confusing. Just know this is the first station of love, the first state of love, and we're all familiar with this, every one of us. Al-Hawa is the initial attraction. It's the falling of love into the heart in its very initial state within the lover. Now, even though this is a station that relates to our nafs, the initial attraction doesn't come from our nafs. Sidi says it is from a higher realm, and that's why it possesses authority and control of it, and that's why it's called falling in love. So this comes from a higher realm, even though it's a station of the nafs and the nafs level of love. It's coming from a higher realm, which is why we don't have so much control over it, and why it's called falling in love. We've all used that expression, right? It's a manifestation from the unseen, from the higher realm. It's coming from the unseen and manifesting in our heart. Into the realm of witnessing within the heart, so into the witnessed world, the seen world. And Sidi says this usually happens because of 3 activities or 3 events or a combination of them. So you can think about the times and ways that you've become attracted to somebody. Number 1, first event is a glance. You can be initially attracted to someone by their glance or by your glancing at them and your eyes meeting. The second is hearing a voice. And the third is receiving excellence. What do you think receiving excellence means? Any ideas? What does it mean to receive excellence? Yes?
I would think it would be being in contact with someone who carries what CD refers to as excellence.
Okay, so encountering excellent qualities in another person, yes? could mean that. Somebody over there had their hand up too. Yes.
Seeing somebody who you like that just does things for you, does kind things to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's one.
Yes. Receiving excellence. Somebody who's doing kind and good things to you. What you're referring to, Salima, of encountering excellence in somebody is you're already. Is that Salima? Sorry. You're already seeing beyond the outer when you're seeing the excellence in somebody. You're already at a deeper heart level with them. So yes, this is very much about, okay, this person does nice things for me. I like this person, right? Find them attractive. So CD says the greatest and firmest effect is the glance, because it doesn't change when a meeting takes place. So it's less changeable than the others. He says hearing a voice, that can change when you actually meet the person that you were attracted to, because I don't know if all of you have experienced this, but I certainly do. When I hear somebody's voice and I've never seen their face, I create a picture of them. I have an image of what I think they look like from hearing their voice. So if you've fallen in love with someone because you like their voice, and then you encounter a picture that you don't really like, or an outer aspect that isn't so attractive to you, then that can actually reduce the initial attraction. And because we compare the image in our imagination to the actual picture of the beloved that we meet. And then the attraction from receiving excellence can vanish with forgetfulness that may occur from the receiving becoming a habit. So, somebody does something nice to us all the time, over and over again, particularly if it's the same thing. Anybody besides me start taking it for granted? Yeah. So we either start taking it for granted, and it's no longer a source of our really being fond of that person, or they stop doing it. And the giving ends, and they stop giving us things or doing things for us that we really like, then the initial attraction can die away. And that's why CD says the greatest and firmest effect is the glance. What do you think that might be? Why might the glance be more powerful anyway than hearing, giving and receiving excellence?
Because it comes from the soul.
Right, the old saying, the eyes are the windows of the soul. So we may already be seeing into a deeper place in the person that we're attracted to. So, as I said, the nafs is the location of this. This is, the very initial attraction is in the station of the nafs. It's a nafs level attraction, even though it comes from a higher realm. So nafs is the location. But CD also says that this initial attraction is an instrument of the nafs. What he means by this is that it's something which can either serve to elevate the nafs, or it can actually serve to bring the nafs down to a lower state. He says, passion is the instrument of the self by which it can ascend to higher states, and it will ascend to higher states if the desire is lofty in nature. So if your desire is lofty, then that initial attraction will take you to higher states of being and purification of the nafs. Whereas if the desire is not lofty, then it's purely physical and purely animal in nature. It can actually bring you, as CD says, can be pulled down by the lowliness of lowly desire. And CD says physical desire is no more than an attraction, and whoever is allured by low desire falls. So what CD says will help you here is to obey the divine law. The outer law, the exoteric law of the religion, will be helpful to you in this station, which is the same thing in station 1 of the stations, you know. We talk about that at the beginning of the path. It's the divine law that protects us. And so CD says it's recommended that you observe the divine law because it will keep you from following your own desires if they're not lofty desires. And CD also, and the other reason that we need the divine law, CD says, is because love in its initial attraction is very controlling. And there is, I love this, there is no existence of the essence of the intellect involved, associated with the state. We lose our mind, in other words. So the divine law helps us to connect this power of attraction to Allah, to the truth, as opposed to a lowly desire. So that's the first station and the first name of love. Al-Hawa. The second name, which a lot of you are familiar with, maybe not in its root form, the second station is love. It's called love, but it's not love al-wadud, it's love al-hub. H-U-B-B. And from this root we get the word mahabba, the name mahabba. CD talks about mahabba a lot. We also get the word habibi or habib, beloved. So you'll often hear Arabic people referring to each other as habibi, habibi. Just means beloved, the way that we refer to each other as beloved. Beloved. So here, the attraction is focused on one person, focused on one beloved, and the lover is deprived of his will. You have no will in this state. Attraction is focused on one beloved, and the lover is deprived of his will and comes under the will of his beloved. If this is the case, then passion is named love. Love, this is the stage that you reach with the purity of the initial attraction. If it becomes pure, then it takes you, it lifts you to this station of love. And CD says that it's the purity of attraction, hawa, within the heart, and it releases the nafs from being caught in the circle of events. So it releases the nafs from reacting to everything that's happening outside. However, the lover has no will with his beloved. Anybody ever experienced that in the first flush of new love, that you're willing to do anything that the beloved wants you to do to make them happy? Anybody ever experienced that? Yeah. So this is the station, this second station of love. The lover has no will with his beloved. And if this initial attraction, hawa, is purified by connecting it to the way of Allah, and rather than other ways, and if the lover is sincere with Allah, it's called love because of its purity and freedom. So there's purity and freedom in this state. Even though you have no will of your own, there's some freedom in that actually, being without will. Al-hub comes from the same root as the word hub, which means seed. And contained in this word seed is the allusion to water making love to the seed so that the seed will grow, so that it can grow. So this is the second station. Any questions about first or second stations before I move on to the third?
So is that related to the heart level?
Yes, in a way, yes, related to station 2, I think. I mean, he hasn't said this is station 1, this is station 2, but I mean, clearly this is the level of the nafs, and this is the nafs being elevated to the level of the heart, so that would, yeah, correspond to station 2, because the next station actually is the ishq. So that's station 3 that Ibrahim's been talking about. Any other thoughts about these first 2 stations, or any questions?
Where does this one manifest from?
Sorry?
Where does this one manifest from?
The heart. It's in the heart. Yeah. They're all coming from the unseen realm, but they're taking the nafs from the nafs level into the heart, if it's pure and has been connected to Allah. Yes?
Would you know in Arabic what Alahim means?
Elohim? Elohim?
Alahim.
Elohim means them.
That.
When we say salat, I have to do that phrase. Alayhi salatullah. Alayhi means to him or upon him. Upon him, and alayhim is the plural of that. So it's upon them.
So how would you say Habibi Allah? Just like that?
Oh, Habiballah. Habiballah. That was one of the names given to the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, the beloved of God. That was his special name. Prophet Ibrahim was known as the friend of Allah, and Musa was known as the word of Allah, or the tongue of Allah, and Isa was known as the spirit of Allah, and Muhammad was known as the beloved of Allah, Habibullah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so we have station 2, love, al-hub, Mahaba. So when you read Sidi's books and you see him referring to Mahaba, love, now you know what he's referring to. The third is the ishq. Which is passionate longing for Allah, or passionate yearning. Well, it doesn't always have to be passionate yearning for Allah, but that's the best thing to be yearning passionately for. Sometimes people are yearning passionately for a beloved, as Ibrahim was speaking yesterday about this man who passionately loved his wife. And that if he had attached his passionate longing and yearning to Allah and love of Allah, then he would have been able to actually give more love to his wife. But ishq is the very intense love, and you've all, I think of this as the honeymoon phase. You know, we talk about honeymoon phase in a marriage, where, oh yes, they're in the honeymoon period. So this is kind of like that in nature. You passionately love the person. You think, if it's with a person, you passionately love them, you think they're wonderful, everything about them is wonderful. You want to be with them every moment, you know. Any moment away from them is torture, and you just want to be with them. That's ishq, the human level. So Sidi says, the ishq is intense love. He says, and this may be a little more difficult to understand, he says it is a meaning within the beloved by which passionate longing occurs in the lover's heart. Do you know what a meaning is in Sufi terms? I don't know whether it's totally clear what Sidi means when he says it's a meaning. What he means is as follows. When Allah creates anything, brings anything into creation, actually when Allah even creates the unmanifested entity of something, first comes the meaning. So we have the essence of Allah, and then from this, when Allah begins creation, through the radiation, through the manifestation of his qualities, he begins to create entities in the cloud. All of this is known as the cloud. It's actually where everything except this is Allah's existence, this is complete non-existence. Everything else is in a barzakh, the in-between existence and non-existence. And I think of it this way because it's just easy for me, my mind, to comprehend, but it kind of goes from the most subtle, so all of the worlds are in here, the most subtle down to the most dense, which is this world. So mostly we talk about Mulk, Malakut, the Jabarut, and then the world of Allah, the Lahut. But up here, in the most subtle part of the early part of creation, before Allah brings something down into this physical existence, first He creates a meaning for it. So Allah doesn't even think about creating something unless there's a meaning for that thing that He's creating. And that's what comes first. Once there's the meaning, once Allah has created a meaning or thought of a meaning or imagined a meaning, because it's all Allah's imagination, then He brings into existence, like the precursor, a spiritual entity, not only human, but anything in creation, including a chair or a carpet, or all the way to human beings, animals, plants. And then from that entity, when He decides to bring that entity into manifestation, it travels through the worlds, becomes more and more dense until it reaches the density of this world. So in between here we have the subtle unseen worlds. But all the way up here at the very beginning we have the meaning of the object or the entity. So Allah never creates anything without a purpose. And what Sufi is saying here is Allah created a meaning for this intense love. It has a purpose, it has a meaning. And when it occurs in the lover's heart, it's because it's a meaning that Allah has put there, put in us human beings, creation. So the ishq is intense love. It is a meaning within the beloved by which passionate longing occurs in the lover's heart. So that passionate longing is coming from that meaning. It's the meaning that's allowing that passionate longing to arise. Any questions about that or any thoughts about that? Is that clear to everybody? Does it make sense? Yes, Rose?
So there might be different meanings to each level of the heart, each layer maybe? Like, like what's the meaning of one person, then
Right.
what's the meaning of their soul, their heart,
Right, absolutely. There's a meaning for the whole concept of a human being, right? For Adam as a being, the great Adam, of which we're all, sons and daughters of Adam. So there's the meaning for a human being, but then there's, I guess, there's meanings for each of the divine names, why Allah placed all of His names within the human being. There's a meaning for that. Meanings are abstract. There's no image that comes with a meaning. So, I wouldn't begin to know what all the meanings are that Allah has placed in the human being, but there could be many, as you say, at many different levels. There are many aspects and probably many meanings in everything that Allah created within the human being, as well as everything else in creation. The meaning comes first. Yeah. Any other thoughts about that?